it is time for our guest segment for the week, Making Connections. And our guest today is Noe Alonzo, a Texas-born, Seoul-based photographer known for capturing gritty cityscapes and back alley shots, showing the less than shiny side of Korea. Some have apparently even come to Korea because of his photos. So we're going to pick his brain about his new book and the role he plays in promoting Korea alongside K-pop and all the other K-contents out there. Good morning and welcome, Noe.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming on this Children's Day. And I know you came in really early as well. Thank you.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure to be here and I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because you have appeared on a previous show, Koreascape, which was the same kind of time frame. And I remember listening to your interview, actually, and being fascinated by your work. So it's great to have you back. That was how many, 4 or 5 years ago?
I think it was about 5 years ago that I last came here.
Yeah. So it's great to have you back. And I know that you've been keeping busy since then, and that's the result, the new book as well. And we'll talk about that. But we do kind of start out this corner by always talking about how you came to Korea and what was your connection to Korea as well. So who or what was it that first connected you to Korea?
Actually, before coming to Korea, I didn't know so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I came across the YouTubers at the time, and they make Korea look like a very kind of fun and unexplored place.
This was how many years ago then? When
This
you first
was
came
in
across these YouTubes? Videos?
2011.
10 years ago then,
Yeah,
exactly.
10 years ago.
Uh-huh. So what were they doing? What were we looking at? The mukbang or the people saying the differences between Korea and their home countries? What kind of videos were you looking at?
I think they were doing the culture videos and they were doing like all the funny things about Korea.
Right.
So that kind of caught my attention. And then from there, they started making like nighttime videos. So I'm more interested in the nighttime.
I see. So you got so intrigued and interested that you decided you wanted to make the move out here? That's a pretty drastic decision, though.
Well, it took me about a year of watching those videos, and then I made the move.
What were you doing in Texas? Were you doing photography then, too?
I was studying to be a veterinarian.
Oh.
And then I ended up, long story short, I ended up with a master's in linguistics so I could teach abroad.
Okay.
And now I have a good teaching job here.
So it's a very kind of some sharp turns then. You were starting to be a vet, then you became a linguist, and then you became a language teacher, an English teacher. Is that what first brought you to Korea then? When you came, you were teaching English?
That's correct.
Okay.
And now I'm a photographer.
Wow. Were any of those a childhood dream? Because that's kind of the question of the day as well. Was that your childhood dream?
Well, I wanted to be a scientist of sorts.
A scientist of sorts.
And then I wanted to be a doctor, but then it seemed a little easy for me. So I wanted to be a veterinarian.
To be a doctor.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
So I imagine you like animals as well.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, lots of kind of, again, like I said, kind of twists and turns. And so you came to Korea, you started teaching English, and you're still, I guess, doing that in a way as well. But then when did you start photographing the country and the city?
Well, actually, I started making videos my first year. Oh. And I bought a DSLR to improve my quality. And maybe after a trip to Taiwan, I noticed I took a very nice looking photo and I wanted to do it once again and once again and once again.
What was it about the photo in Taiwan that you thought, hey, maybe I can do this as a living or take it up more seriously or I want to do it more?
Well, it was the composition. It was like the ocean. There was an island in the background and there was like a girl standing by herself and it just looked like something out of a magazine.
Right.
And I wanted to learn how to do that again.
So that photo was kind of by chance, or was it after like 100 shots, many shots?
I think it was by chance because I was there to enjoy myself. I made video, but I didn't really focus on taking pictures so much.
Right.
And I just took it.
Okay. I mean, I know that a lot of people are starting YouTube even now. Some have been doing it for years and years, like the ones that maybe kind of drew you to Korea. And I hear that it is so much work because to constantly retain your viewers' attention, to add more viewers as well, you have to constantly make new content and put it up there. So a lot of people have trouble, just keeping up with one YouTube channel and You have three? Is this true, Noe?
Oh yeah, I keep up with three of them.
Oh my
I
goodness.
update them regularly.
Why do you have three, and what's the difference between the three?
Well, each one has a different audience.
Okay.
For example, I have a Spanish YouTube channel about Korea, and they enjoy like the things in Spanish about Korea.
Right.
And I have a photography channel. That one's does a lot of like live stream photo walks around the city, so people can watch me take pictures of Seoul. And I have an art channel that I just started.
Art channel. So featuring your own art.
Well, I like to think of my photography more as arts,
Uh-huh.
and that's the regard.
Okay, so that kind of seems to be all related. But again, you must be very busy creating content for those three and then doing your still photography as well.
And the social media on top of that.
Do you ever sleep, Noe? Not much?
Sometimes. I take naps during the day.
Okay. I don't know. Do you find it easier to do YouTube videos? Because it seems like you've got three and then you've got the photographs as well. And I almost feel, I mean, obviously I've heard of how much work YouTube video is. You know, you have to shoot a lot and then you have to edit, add special effects or whatever. But also I think with photography, it's kind of the same thing. You have to take lots of photos to get that one amazing photo, or you have to be extremely lucky, and you can't always, rely on luck when you are doing it as a serious profession, right? So if you had to compare the two, making videos for YouTube and doing photography, still photography, which is more difficult or challenging?
I think YouTube feels more difficult, but actually photography is more difficult. But since I enjoy photography much more, it's just something I don't really think about.
What is more difficult about it?
Well, you spend the time walking around from like sunset to sunrise, and sometimes in the middle of the rain or in winter where it's like super cold and your feet really hurt, but I enjoy it.
But you need to put in that physical work to get the best photos, you think?
Right, you need to put in the effort if you want the rewards.
All right. You were known for these neon noir photos or cyberpunk as well. For those of us, including myself actually, who don't exactly know what that means, can you explain in words without, I guess, hopefully our listeners are also going to be looking up your work on YouTube, but what exactly is neon noir or cyberpunk photography?
Well, have you ever seen the movie Blade Runner?
The original?
Yes.
Many times.
Okay, well, it's something like that. Like you take pictures that try to depict the city in that manner.
In the nighttime. So kind of the gritty again. You've got lots of neon lights. It's dark. But it is quite, when I say dark, it's both literally and also kind of figuratively dark as well, right? It's
Right.
not you don't feel happy looking at these photos. There is quite a somber quality to them. What is it about it that drew you to this part? Is it because it's so different from what you grew up with, or is that what impresses you the most of Seoul?
I think it's just the creativity aspect. And to me, it's kind of beautiful when you have all these lights and reflections in the rain. And a lot of people also enjoy that.
So the rain creates a nice effect, I guess, the kind of the reflection on the surfaces. It was raining all day yesterday. Did you get a lot of photography done?
Actually, yes. But I came home early because I had to wake up for the interview.
Well done. Thank you for that. You're also known, as I mentioned in the beginning, for taking quote unquote ugly photos. And I think this is because maybe dark, sometimes people regard it as ugly. Do you agree that they are ugly, sort of quote unquote ugly, or do you find them beautiful actually?
I think they're beautiful, and most of my audience abroad also thinks they're beautiful. And the only ones who don't think so are the people in Korea.
Oh no, really? Because you like taking these dark alleyways, and we're looking at some photos right now. It seems like kind of the older alleyways of Seoul. You've got the almost like cobblestones. They are very narrow as well. The signs are kind of all different sizes and different colors and different shapes as well. Not so uniform like the newer ones that we're seeing now. I remember coming across this quote. I think I read it in an article, and they were talking about the most sort of beautiful cities, the best places to live in. And then this one author was saying he is actually drawn to cities or countries that have some ugliness to them because it shows room for improvement. It shows room for change. It's dynamic, and that excites the author. What is your sort of perception of Seoul in terms of that?
Well, I think these kind of areas are slowly being demolished and rebuilt.
Right.
And people are excited about the new, but once this is gone, they might feel it's kind of bland and a little boring, and they're going to miss it.
Because it looks a little generic, doesn't it?
Right.
Not so much personality. In fact, what is your favorite sort of section or area of Seoul that you like to go photographing?
Well, I try to explore a different area of the city each time, so I don't have a particularly favorite one, but I really do like the Hanok area, especially in the snow, like the Bukchon Hanok village.
Is there a new area that you've discovered? Because I also have found that Seoul right now, they're developing each neighborhood. And that doesn't always mean demolishing the old, but they're kind of reviving it, and they're figuring out ways to kind of, to bring the original taste back, but also infuse a little bit of the new or the young into it as well. Are there some new neighborhoods that you've recently discovered maybe?
Well, I tend to avoid the newer areas.
Like Iksan-do, I guess. I mean, it's
Yeah.
an old neighborhood, but it's undergone a revival of sorts in the past couple of years, and also Uljiro maybe as well.
Right, I was going to say Uljiro actually.
Yeah.
Uljiro has always been one of my favorite, and it's really nice to see more people coming to it. So I especially like the coffee shops there.
The old ones, right? Do you like it when there are more people? Because a lot of your photos seem to, obviously they're taken, it seems very late at night because you don't see that many people. And I don't know, like the past year of COVID-19, it may have seemed that there are fewer people on the streets, but maybe fewer signs open, fewer businesses open as well. Have you seen a huge difference in the city at nighttime over the past year?
Well, I've always shot at night, and it's always been less people. But now that COVID hit, you can definitely feel the difference. Like there's way less businesses open, there's less lights, and sometimes there's no people at all.
Is that good for your work or not?
I always like there to be at least one person.
And that has not been so easy to find during
Not as
COVID-19
easy.
after 10 p.m., hopefully, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, hopefully not too long will we have to suffer that. But let's talk about your new book. And you also brought your new book as well, called Seoul. Tell us about this. It's Seoul into the Night, a beautiful hardback book. Tell us about this.
Well, I've been taking pictures for many years, and this book is a collection of images from 2015 until 2021. And the thought process behind this book was to make a book where there were no filler pictures, or every picture was as good as the previous one. So in total, there's about 276 pages and 255 images about Seoul. And so far, everyone's loving it. I haven't heard any complaints whatsoever.
This is a labor of love from 2015, basically up to this year, you said. And from, I can imagine, thousands and thousands, maybe even tens of thousands that you've taken over that time to just choose, a couple of hundred for this must have been so painful and so difficult.
It took me all last year during the quarantine.
I see.
I spent the entire year going back, editing, choosing, designing, writing, editing, everything.
Wow. Again, I know it's going to be very difficult. It's like saying which is your favorite, child. If you've got 200 or 300, this is your favorite?
That's one of my favorites, the one with the girl walking down the street.
Okay. So I don't know if our cameras can show this right now, but we have a photo of a solitary, it looks like maybe is she a student? Because she has a big knapsack on that.
She actually had a big teddy bear, but you can't see it so much here. And I kind of regret not taking the picture earlier because you would have been able to see it much nicer.
The teddy bear. So it does look like maybe a student walking through another of those dark alleys. And there's a Tejigalbi place and a Hanu place as well. What is it about this that you love so much?
I love the colors, how they blend very well, because purple and yellow are very nice complements. And she's got like a yellow umbrella. And you can't tell, but she also had like a yellow uniform.
Right. So there's yellow, there's violet, there's pinks, and all of these are the natural colors. You didn't have to use use filters, I guess, to bring out these colors. That is amazing. It's kind of, I don't know. I also love Seoul at night. I think it kind of, in my opinion, actually, the darkness sometimes hides the ugliness. And then the lights, when they come alive, they create like this jewel-like city, especially along the Han River. And it seems like your photos also kind of capture that as well. But this isn't on the cover. How come you chose a different one for the cover?
Oh, that one is my favorite one.
Oh, this one is your favorite.
The other one's like my second favorite.
Your second favorite. So tell us about the cover photo then. This one is a lot more kind of busier. Seems like a bigger alley as well. Where was this taken?
Oh, that's taken in Dongdaemun.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually during winter, and I was expecting it to snow, but it didn't snow. Instead, it rained. So you were able to get these real beautiful reflections. And I really like the older part of the city, plus the food there is amazing.
So you go for the photography, but you also have an experience while you're at it, and you have the food as well. So you said that it's been well received. Is it also being sold overseas as well? Because as we mentioned, some people have actually come to Korea because they were so enraptured by your photos. Is it also being available and sold overseas?
Actually, my target audience is abroad.
Okay.
So overseas is selling really, really well. Not so much in Korea. So I ordered some books to bring to Korea, and whoever contacts me, I just give to them.
So you can't actually buy them here in Korea? Or you have to order it from overseas?
You could, but I thought it would save me much more money and people more money if I bought them and people just contacted me.
What sort of response has there been any sort of maybe surprising responses to the book?
Quite a few. There's been a lot of like video game developers who got my book and they really enjoy it very much. Some movie makers, they like it. Pretty much anyone in TV, radio, and magazines really enjoys the book.
Excellent. So you might be collaborating on maybe a movie or maybe a video game featuring some of your work as well?
That'd be pretty good. I like that.
What about your future goals and maybe even a different style of photography? Because I have to say, I looked up your work on Instagram and I think you have more than one, but I saw lots of cherry blossoms. It was light. It was daytime. It was pink. It was a very different look and feel from the kind of photographs that I'm seeing here in this book.
That's actually my next project. It's a new book, but it will be out in about 5 or 6 years.
What is it then? It's about cherry blossoms, or what's going to be the theme for that?
The theme is going to be kind of daytime, kind of animation kind of feeling.
Ah, yeah. Okay. So this is another side, and you'll be, I guess, working more during the day this time as well. Well, we look forward to that as well. And all of your future projects will be following your work on, of course, social media, on YouTube as well. And I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for taking the time to join us here today.
Sure. Thanks for having me.